the world of business interests you, then let a degree from Bryant & Stratton College open the doors to a career in fields like accounting, management, finance, human resources, or even as the owner of your own business. Here, you'll learn the fundamentals of business and technology, along with developing the leadership and management skills you'll need to succeed. Classes for a variety of business programs start soon, so contact us today at bryantstratton.edu. Bryant & Stratton College, for every and in life.
For important program information and disclosures, visit our website at bryantstratton.edu/disclosures.
Hello, Wildcats. It's your boy Kev, just coming at you like a Tiger Woods win, just winning that fucking cool-ass jacket. But you know what they say, gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a shit? Anyways, this is just a disclaimer, a quick heads up to let you know that we are a comedy and crime podcast. So even though we cover many serious cases and true events, we do like to throw in some dark humor and inappropriate jokes. So if you are easily offended and if you do not like to mix comedy and crime, then you're not going to like this podcast. So that's your heads up right there. And also, I got to cut this short and get out of here because we do have a tornado warning going on. But I'm recording this for you instead of protecting myself and my family because they can all burn in hell. That's not nice. That doesn't even make any sense. But anyways, that's all. Be good, stay safe, and laugh at the dark stuff. # Wildman. Hey, what up, y'all? It's your boy Kev. Sometimes we fuck up in life. That's alright, just blame it on the fucking dog. I took a dump in the backyard, and I blame it on my dog. I took a dump in my side yard, still blame it on my dog. I took a dump in the front yard. It took me like 6 minutes, but I blame it on my dog. At least that's how I'm spinning. Turning down my back road, I'm pooping out my asshole. I know all these poops cause they fell out my ass.
Alright, fellas, like we practiced.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4.
Come on down. Come on down. Hanging with the brothers tonight, yeah. Come on down to the Brothers Commonplace tonight.
Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Brothers Commonplace, a comedy and crime podcast where we cover monsters, murders, mysteries, and more. And today we got a pretty good one for you. But before we jump into that, I want y'all to meet these little Sour Patch Kids.
I like that. What's going on, guys? This is Tim, or the World, as they call me that time I got bit by that guy named Jimmy.
Shut up.
Just Jimmy World.
Dude, I remember Mark would always be like, hey, man, you listen to Jew lately? Because it's just the initials of it. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? He's like, Jimmy World. Fucking Jew is like the best band there is.
Jew.
It's too bad you became an earthworm later.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh.
What's up, everyone? This is Spence, and I'm also known as the guy who's asking, is there any point in watching this live-action Dumbo movie that's coming out?
I wouldn't think so, no.
But I think there's one case to be made for it, which is it might have a live-action version of the fucking Pink Elephants song. You remember that song?
No, I don't really remember too
No,
much.
I don't remember. I don't think I've ever watched Dumbo.
I don't think you need to. But
Oh.
there's this crazy sequence where it's like the Disney animators were probably on LSD, and it's terrifying.
I do remember
And
you
it's
telling
called
me
Pink
about
Elephants.
Dude, hell yeah. I'll have to. Is there a bunch of racist shit hidden in it?
Probably.
that. I would hope so,
Good.
yeah.
I'll
and
watch
like
it.
mountains that look like penises.
Nice. Hell yeah.
And it's your boy Kev, a.k.a. The Dirty Dog. And originally, in my intro, it was going to be a joke about how he wasted the AIDS antidote on Magic Johnson. But on the way here, I saw something that I had to talk about. There's just this fucking old guy standing outside his apartment building, and he was wearing this hat, and the hat was legit just a 3-foot-long ear of corn.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what he was wearing.
Hell yeah.
Where'd he get that hat, guy?
Did you tell him it was corny?
No.
Don't laugh at that.
Yeah.
Don't you dare laugh at that.
No, I liked it.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know what this guy was doing. He was just standing out there sweating wearing this fucking ear of corn hat. So I thought I'd mention that. Shout out to that guy.
I mean,
Just
I know
out there
he's-
popping.
I know what he's doing now, getting fucking laid.
Yeah, I hope
true.
so. Yeah, because he sat on that ear of corn hat. Swallowed it.
Oh,
Good
fuck
thing he
yeah.
buttered that bitch.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, baby, I'm high fructose.
Hey, my dick feels like corn. Oh, give me the butter, baby. Give me the butter.
So alrighty, all you speaker box and love belows, it's time to settle our differences and work together to get through this strange murder case. And let's just say, the main person for today's topic, you can go ahead and call him Jericho, because you definitely don't want to end up on his list.
Oh, shit. Uh-oh.
That is right. Today we cover the mass murderer known as John List. That's a pretty stupid name for a stupid guy. And he would have gotten away with it all, too, if it wasn't for John Walsh and America's Most Wanted.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome.
So, yeah, let's go ahead and find out why they call this man, John List, the Boogeyman of Westfield.
Can we just get it out of the way and ask if he had a brother named Schindler?
You'll have to keep listening to the pod. Hey, sign up for the Patreon. You'll find out.
Hey, could I be any more Schindler?
Could I have a bigger list?
Oh, God. Shout out to Qui-Gon Jinn. Thank you for saving all those people. Without you, there wouldn't be them.
This is true.
Yes.
You know what, though, honestly? With the way Magic Johnson just quit his job, don't you think the world fucked up, like, using the antidote on him? Because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
For real. Did you see how he did it? What a bit. It was
no,
a bitch
I didn't
move.
see. I saw he sat down and see how he did it.
Yeah, it was. He was getting interviewed after the last game, and he's pretty much like, "Yeah, I ain't coming back next year. Someone's got to tell," because he never told them. He didn't tell anyone. He's like, "I'm not talking to him. One of you has to tell him."
Fuck.
And then he was like laughing. He's like, "Everyone's talking about like all the stuff they're gonna do next year, and I'm just thinking, I'm not gonna be here." Motherfucker, we the world collectively saved you from AIDS, and you're doing that shit?
You know, motherfucker, you were on a team with LeBron. Why the fuck wouldn't you come back?
We should have saved like Freddie Mercury or someone.
Yeah, dude, someone
that would
worth
have been better.
it.
That really would have been better.
Or David Bowie.
Did he have AIDS?
Did he die of AIDS?
I don't think he did.
No.
Oh.
No. We should have just saved him.
Yeah,
anyway.
we should have saved him anyways, you know? They don't have to have AIDS to be
Well,
saved.
if that's the case, we should have saved Macho Man.
Yeah, that's true. Well, because he had to sacrifice himself to save all of us from the rapture.
Yeah, but
Because he died and elbow dropped Jesus in the back of the neck.
But
They
if
told him, you do that shit again, motherfucker, and you won't see tomorrow. So,
that's true.
So, alrighty, as far as our sources go, America's Most Wanted, All That's Interesting, Forensic Files, and then also the lineup. And those are all the websites I used. There were a couple of books that I didn't get to read all of, but I did get pieces from both Mass Murder, The Scourge of 21st Century, and also Death Sentence, the inside story of the John List murders. So, yeah, those books I couldn't get the full versions of.
Yeah.
So here we go. John Emil List. I don't really know how to pronounce his middle name, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick a random word and change his middle name. Grocery. So here we go. John, born September 17th, 1925, in Bay City, Michigan, which I think is like right on the inside part of the glove, like right where the glove thumb meets the rest of the mitten. In the Michigan shape.
Wait, where?
Bay City.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's not where Saved by the Bell is. That's Bayside.
Bayside, yeah. Imagine Saved by the Bell did take place in Michigan. Just how shitty of a show that'd be.
I mean, come
Actually,
on.
everyone there would be screeched.
It was already a pretty shitty show.
Hey,
honestly.
motherfucker, I will fight you. Don't you say that.
But they'd have lakes full of very nice, clean, clear water.
Yeah, Flint definitely would appreciate
Drinkable,
that.
at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. It doesn't look like the fucking symbiote from Spider-Man at all.
Yeah. I'm trying to stick up for Michigan here. I got a lot of good public waterways.
I actually do like Michigan. Michigan's pretty cool.
I used to live there. Actually, in Flint.
Oh, in like Flint. So John, he was an only child to a couple of German-American parents, his father being named John Frederick List, and his mother's name Alma Maria Barbara Florence List. And speaking of List, Jesus Christ, Alma, you got enough names? Thought that name list would never end.
There was also John Fledwick's Lisp, but that was just Lisp.
So John, he was a very religious person, as you will find out soon. And as far as religion goes, he was a devout Lutheran. And Lutherans, I had to Google this because I don't know anything about religion.
Yeah, I don't know shit about Lutherans at all.
They believe that humans are saved from their sins by God's grace alone, through faith alone, on the basis of Scripture alone. Which I don't know how that's different from any other religion, but
seems like every
I just
single
don't know anything. I'm ignorant when it comes to that. I don't know shit about religion.
Yeah.
However, I did learn that if you Google Martin Luther on Wikipedia, he looks exactly like Brian Windhorst with like a shitty poet haircut.
Who's Brian Windhorst?
He's that white reporter guy who just follows LeBron everywhere.
Oh, okay.
He kind of looks like Fat Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Or a little bit like Jon Favreau.
So here's Brian
Shit,
Windhorst.
I know that.
Oh, yeah, that's a
right.
much better match.
Jesus.
And here's Martin Luther.
Oh my God.
Pretty much the same fucking pose.
So
why are they sit the same way? Look at this one. That one looks even more like him.
So we can just say this is the second coming
So
at this point. Yeah.
And if Brian Windhorst is the one having sex, then it's just no one's coming. All right. So John List, he would eventually enlist in the U.S. Army during World War II.
Damn.
And even made second lieutenant. I don't think he ever actually saw combat, though. I remember reading that he served as a laboratory technician, which is still pretty cool.
Oh, he's a laboratory tech, and
Yeah.
he was in the John. Sometimes they call that the laboratories.
Hell yeah, they do. And he ended up, I cracked that enlisting joke earlier because I didn't realize I typed it 2 sentences later. But he ended up enlisting for the Army in 1943. That was the year he did.
Nice.
And then he would be discharged in 1946. And then after 1946, he would enroll at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, and he would earn a bachelor's degree in business administration and then a master's degree in accounting.
Nice.
So that's pretty badass. That's cool.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And shout out to our listeners in Ann Arbor. So sorry about all the stuff we said about Michigan earlier. Ann Arbor is pretty cool. I've been there a couple times. I played a show there back in the day at the Blind Pig. It was pretty cool. It was in the middle of a snowstorm, and there was only one guy there. But, hopefully that guy enjoyed it.
We know Vicky went there.
Hey, you and me, we're going to be pretty close next year.
Yeah. And Vicky got hot.
Every time I hear Ann Arbor, I do just think of American
Yeah,
Pie.
you have to.
The second one, right? No, it is the first one.
It's the first one when she said she was going to Ann Arbor.
So in November of 1950, John, he was back in active military, serving during the Korean War. And then within the next year, he would meet a woman named Helen Taylor, and she was a widow of an infantry officer that was killed in Korea. And then by December of 1951, John and Helen would marry, and they would move out to Northern California. And then Helen, she also had a daughter by the name of Brenda that she had with her previous husband, the one that was killed. So, yeah, things are moving pretty quick for John List right here. He meets this woman, a widow, and then a year later, they're already married.
Hashtag Wildman's the guy that got killed.
Yeah. Never mind. I was going to make it, nah. It's going to be a joke. It'll be like, well, thank God that guy died.
No.
For John, but then what happens later,
Yeah,
that would
We're
be
rooting for John.
Further into the story.
It's like the first season of Breaking Bad when you're on Walter White's side.
Yeah. It's like, oh, hell yeah, bang your ugly wife up against that fridge. She don't want it, but, the watcher, the viewer does.
Do you stop being on his side before the end?
You kind of go through hating every character in that show.
Okay. I've only watched season 1.
Except Ted.
It's true. It's true about Ted. IFT.
Except Badger.
Badger. Fuck yeah, with the laser pointer.
Yeah, dude, that part is
Fuck
good.
yeah, man.
But yeah, so at the beginning, we are kind of rooting for John right now. He's a soldier. He's a religious man. He hasn't done anything wrong yet, so more power to him at this point.
Yeah.
One thing about Helen and John, they actually ended up having sex before they were married, which is a big thing to some religious people. And soon after they had sex, Helen told John that, oh no, I think I might be pregnant. And then John, since he is religious, he's like, well, I got to do the right thing. We got to get married quickly. So that would lead to them getting married. And then on the night before the wedding, Helen tells John, oh, by the way, I'm not actually pregnant. It was a false alarm. So John, they said he didn't actually want to go through with the marriage necessarily. However, he is a bit of a pushover and decided to do it anyways. So on December 1st, 1951, John and Helen were married.
Well, this makes everything that happens later okay.
Oh, God. Yeah, Helen is, Helen's something else.
That was kind of a dick move, but I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not deservable of the things that happened later, but it was a dick move.
You will
real-
find there's more to that move than we're talking about right now. So
Oh,
stay tuned. We're
shit.
going to find out some more reasoning behind that.
It's almost like chess.
Very much like chess. Almost like Chex Quest in a way. Do you guys remember
Dang.
Chex Quest?
Yeah,
that
I
game?
remember. Yeah, I do,
I
yes.
bought cereal in the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
fuck
Dude, that's what made me
It was
remember
just
it too.
Doom, but
Yeah.
you're fucking a Chex guy. It was
Yeah.
awesome. And while it
Not awesome.
Hey, Tim,
Let's not go
it
with
was awesome. You know why it was awesome? Because we were poor. That's all we had.
Hey,
Okay, these are true
I
things.
never played it. I just had it.
Oh, I fucking played that shit.
My dad's like, how do you fucking play this thing? And he just threw it across rooms in a fucking frisbee. That's not even funny. That was such a so low on the comedy scale.
Some kind of satellite frisbee?
What is this? A spin jammer? And he puts his finger in it and spins it on his finger.
That's what he did to me. First time I met Kev. he just-
Hell yeah. He's like, I got 9 more fingers, boys. And
Said you can see the lines when they're jumping on the moon in the moon landing videos.
Oh, speaking of, do you guys think we really landed on the moon? And if so, did they fake the pictures even though the moon landing was real?
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to talk about that on our Patreon. No, we're not going
Ooh.
to talk about
Yeah.
that at all.
Well,
so.
we don't have tooth to talk about.
I've literally
That's true.
I've never cared enough to look.
Yeah.
We landed on the moon.
We
No
landed
way.
on the moon.
And while in California, List, he was serving as an army accountant, but in 1952, his military time would be up, and he would move the family to Detroit, where he would work as an audit supervisor at a paper company.
Oh,
What?
fuck yes.
And back to Mr. List being a very religious person, he would also teach Sunday school at the church.
That was a nice one.
And then over the next couple of years, he and Helen, they would have 3 kids together, Patricia, John, and Frederick. So that's kind of confusing because his dad's name's John Frederick. His name is John, and then he has a son named John and Frederick.
It's like George Michael and George Michael in Arrested Development.
And, well, John's like, well, my fucking mother stole all the names with her long-ass name, so...
I heard they asked him. They're like, all those names are taken. Would you like to be John Frederick 420?
Dude, when I was at the gym, I once signed up this big fucking hillbilly redneck guy, and I the whole time I was thinking, like, motherfucker, you're not going to come in here. Like, why are you signing up, dude?
Yeah, you're just wasting money
And
at this point.
I was asking for his email, and I'm not going to say what it was exactly because I don't want anyone to email this guy, even though it blew my mind that he could use a fucking computer. It was, I swear to God, Southern Man 69.
Hell yeah. Did my dad ever come in or?
This was a 40-year-old guy who looked me in the eyes. I was like, all right, email address, and he's like, Southern Man 69.
Oh my God.
Us.
At what? At
I
Yahoo?
can't say.
Like, just-
Please tell me it was Yahoo.
Just
I
or
won't,
Hotmail.
I won't say.
It wasn't Google.
Just fucking make one up and just fucking make it later.
And now I'm going to email this guy. Be like, motherfucker, why didn't you come in and
Yeah.
use the gym, dude? And it was said that Helen didn't even want children at all. So after each child was born, she would get more depressed, and her alcoholic beverage intake would increase.
Yeah.
The intake would increase. Well, that could be a problem with the manifold or with one of the gaskets.
And Helen, she was very much into living above her actual wealth. She liked to spend a lot of money that the family didn't actually have. She enjoyed the finer things in life.
Mm.
And before we get too much further ahead on Helen, I do want to mention that our information comes from like books, newspapers, police interviews, and things like that. So if we talk about someone, we're not professionals. We only have the information that we have available to us to go on. We're not trying to like sound mean or anything, but if everything we come across is saying she's like a mean drunk, then that's what we have to go on. So just
Because we get emails.
Yeah, we do.
yeah. So if the actual police in interviews say, oh, this guy, he's an alcoholic and he abuses his wife, and if the actual police and newspapers say that, then we have to go with that and say that because, like I mentioned, we're not professionals. We only have what's available to us to do that. So if that upsets you, get mad at them. Get mad at the actual sources, not us. And then come over here and let's just neck.
Yeah, I mean,
for a while.
Just necking, and also while we're necking, say, "Oh, D."
Like giraffes fighting. Like they hit each other with their necks.
That is fucking frightening, dude.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch.
It's so
though.
scary.
Yeah,
it
They
is.
just whack each other with their necks.
but I mean, if you're a giraffe, what the fuck else would you do?
It's true. They're
But
all
that
necks.
it is awesome to see though, for real.
Yeah, I guess zebras can do some pretty mean, badass shit too. Like they can like they go out of their way to like pick on little baby zebras and like eat them and shit.
Well, that's a dick move.
And
It's
then-
like what Jimmy did to me earlier.
Jimmy, yeah. Oh, you know what? Well, Jimmy watched porn and I was there. Remember that? Jimmy watched porn and I was there. You guys remember that from school?
I do. Yeah.
oh man.
So, alrighty, back to Helen. She would also stay inside and in bed, and she didn't really do any of the housework. And she was so bad that Brenda, the oldest daughter, which was her daughter from her previous marriage, she would have to stay home sometimes from school to take care of the young children. And Helen, she would even call John while he was at work and would demand that he comes home to change the baby's diaper. She'd be like, yeah, is John there? Yeah, well, the babies need their diapers changed, and I'm not going to do it. So if you want it done, you better come home and do it.
Are you gonna tell like the rest of the story though? Because
No.
I mean, you're just ripping on Helen and stuff,
Yeah.
and this is around the time when she was left alone with nobody else to talk to except for Steve. Except Steve.
Who's Helen?
That's my first name, Bobby.
It blows my mind how much we mention that in this podcast. Those are his sheets back there.
Just pee all over him.
And then soon after the 3 children were born, Brenda, she immediately gets married and moves away, which, man, I don't blame her. Sounds
Yeah,
like it's
absolutely.
kind of a shitty place. I mean, as
For
far
sure.
as John goes, it sounds like he was like a good husband and a good father. I mean, he was working. Sounded like he was trying to take care of him best he could. And one reason that Brenda may have wanted to get out of the house so quickly, Helen sounds like she's kind of a nutty bitch, to be honest. I mean, I feel bad about,
What happens?
spoiler alert,
Yeah.
what happens later.
Yeah, what happens a little later.
But
yeah.
I mean, she does sound pretty nutty. And now this is from the Chicago Tribune. List's wife, Helen, 45, was a heavy drinker. And this was according to Brenda, her daughter. List was also on the verge of bankruptcy in the winter of 1971. And at the time, List's wife was confined to her bedroom with a debilitating brain disease, cerebral atrophy, and had become dependent on alcohol and tranquilizers. And that was all from an interview from Chicago Tribune that Brenda, her daughter, had said to the police.
Did they just give her headaches or something, or what did it do to her?
We'll talk a little bit more about what
okay.
it does.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so she was kind of a drunk. She was kind of nutty, but
Yeah.
she also had a lot of shit fucked up with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll find out where some of that stemmed from. And Helen, she frequently berated and humiliated her husband in public. She often compared the mild-mannered List to her first husband, and her husband, her first one, had won a Silver Star in Korea. And here's another quote. She was always insinuating that he was not the man her first husband was, and Helen would decimate him, and John would break into tears and go running into the children's bedroom.
Damn.
Yeah, so...
This is making like the rest like at least a little bit better for me.
And the thing is, like, we're not defending John or anything, and we're
Yeah.
not just here to, like, bash Helen, but she sounds like a fucking awful lot to deal with.
I mean, what he does is bad, but like,
Yeah.
this is making it less bad for me. At least one of them.
and
yeah.
And here's the thing with John. He has awful people skills. He's not good at talking to people, and unfortunately, that's what his job needs him to do. Like, he needs people skills. He needs communication skills in order to be a manager. So he's had a few different jobs now, and eventually he finds his place in New York, working at Xerox, where he would become the director of accounting services. So one thing that's frequent with this family is he would lose a job, or he'd get another job, but it'd be out of state, and he'd have to move the entire family. So he's doing that a lot. Because, yeah, he's always getting fired. So he's always moving around. But he would never tell his family that he got fired or anything. But like, hey, we got a new job. It's a better job, and we're moving here. And every time he would get fired or let go, he would fall behind on house payments. And they'd be like, yeah, well, we're going to move to here so I can take this job. And then 5 years later, he would once again move the family, this time to New Jersey, where he would take the position of vice president at the First National Bank. And this was in 1965.
So that sounds like a really good job.
And he has degrees, like he's an intelligent guy,
Yeah.
and he gets a lot of good jobs, but they always have to deal with actually talking to people and communicating, and he just can't fucking do that at all.
Because he's being berated at home. Jesus.
I mean, he doesn't really have a good... Yeah, he has a shitty life at home because of his wife, and then...
He's getting Kevin Green berated.
Oh, yeah. Took me a second to think of that one.
And according to John later on, he said the only time that Helen was really ever happy was whenever he was buying her like new clothes or new other items, or whenever they were moving into new and better houses. Like he said that's the only time he ever really saw her happy.
Yeah.
And that will lead us to our next fun part. Helen wanted a house. Like she had her eyes caught on this certain house. It was a big house. And it was one that John didn't want to buy because it was one that he couldn't afford. However, he is kind of a pushover. And so they decided that, you know what, let's go ahead and buy this house. Let's purchase this 19-room mansion known
the fuck?
as Breeze Knoll. But knowing that he couldn't afford it, he's like, hey, Mom, Alma, I need you to move in and, maybe help out. To which she said yes, and then she also gave him a loan to further assist him. So he buys this fucking mansion, and then has his mom move in to help. So the family, they move into this giant-ass mansion, and then his mother moves into an apartment on the 3rd floor.
I read not enough of this story, apparently, because I just know the end.
Yeah, well, a lot of this information through the middle I got from the books. And things were starting to get a little decent here. Like he found a Lutheran church he enjoyed, and he began taking the family and even teaching Sunday school there. However, I don't think Helen was going. Like I think she slowly stopped going. But one thing she was doing, during company picnics, she would flirt with other men, and she would like belittle John and stuff.
Dude, there's no way this bitch, like, she's left the bed, like, once in the last 20 years? Like, there's no way she has any, like... She can't be good looking at this point.
And the thing is if you look up a picture of her, she has some fucking wicked, crazy, fucked up eyes.
I say, okay.
She's got some...
I've never seen it. I have to see this.
The Martin Luther picture came up.
Her fucking eyes look like 2 compasses gone mad. That's what they fucking look like. Let me pull this up. And I'm sorry. I know this is mean because of what happens, but... She's not a good, from everything we know, based on the sources we have, she doesn't sound like a good person.
Oh, what the fuck, man? Come on, John.
Like, she could be at the company picnic, like, talking to John, and then also checking out the fucking nice new fucking box boy around the corner.
Wait, how did he get her out of jail?
Maybe he was just waving at me. French fries and Oreos. Which brings me to something from our hype man, John Wildman from Queens. Our official hype man has something he would like to say on this matter.
You wonky-eyed fucking bitch. Why don't you get off my case and let me drink some fucking PBR? I have a shit taste in beers.
I don't know what these next few are because I haven't listened to them all, but we'll just play them and then I'll just pick the good ones.
Dude, I swear. I fucking put the Queen shirt in my fucking bag to go on vacation with it because I was like, no, I have to wear this.
You bitch, why are you looking at me sideways? Oh, I forgot. You just got a fucked up eye.
Okay, now this one.
I can't even pimp you out on Craigslist because your eyes are all fucked up.
So like we said, it is mean because of what happens later, and but she, at this point in the story, she's a fucking mean nutty bitch.
Yeah.
She's mean to him. She's belittling him all the time, making him cry, being like, "Yo, you'll fucking never be what my husband is, like what my first husband was," and all this other shit. Like, don't be that mean.
See, I'm understanding one part now, but not the rest.
And also, like I said, we're not here to defend John because he is a piece of shit, but this is just to get some of the background out and show you what led up to him doing what he did. And now, much like with his last jobs, he started to slip and not do that great because he had no people or communication skills, and he was just a fucking human doormat to walk on. Also, he was supposed to be developing a reporting system for the bank, but he failed to ever really get that project going. And then at the same time, Helen's health is really, really shitty now. Like, she was always falling down. She's not a pretty girl. She's always falling down. That fucking Plus 44 song.
I don't even know what it is.
But yeah, she's always falling down and shit and getting hurt, and like she's blacking out, and she's also running to become the president against Donald Trump. Remember when fucking when Hillary was always fucking passing out and shit?
Oh, man.
I remember, dude. I know I mentioned this before, but Jared would be like, he'd like knock on my door. He'd be like, dude, you got to fucking see this shit. Because he was a super big Trump fan.
Yeah.
And I didn't give a shit about either of them, honestly.
Yeah.
Trump's funny, at least. But he's like, dude, you got to see this fucking video, dude. And he pulls it up, and it's like, it's just Hillary. And she's like, she spits up like this green phlegm. He's like, look how fucking disgusting that is. You want that as the president? Like,
Humans?
she's
She's
fucking
a
has
human?
cold,
She's
dude.
a fucking human?
She's fucking
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna.
Come on, Jared.
You much phlegm I've fucking spit up the last couple of days?
He's like, that's fucking disgusting, dude. What is that? That fucking slime. I was like, I don't. I was like,
I mean, it's not like she's John Hurt and there's a fucking alien popping out of her chest.
Oh shit, where were we? Oh yeah, so she's always.
That would be something, like if the alien scene where it pops out of his chest, like he pulls you aside. It's like, you want that as the president? Like,
Fuck yeah.
I mean, that'd be
John
amazing. I
Hurt was
would want
running
that
in
as
for
president.
I'd be like, that's fucked up. Okay, Jared, you won me over.
Yeah, I'll
dude.
say you got my vote.
So yeah, she's always blacking out, passing out, and one time she blacked out and cracked her skull after falling, and she had to be hospitalized, and this was in 1966. And then the doctors feared the possibility that she may have had a brain tumor, because I guess her father had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
But then the doctors, they were like, okay, this lady, she's kind of off her rocker. We don't know if she's like psychotic or hysteric. But here, we're just going to prescribe her some Librium and then send her home.
Do you feel like if she just had died, the rest wouldn't have happened?
Honestly, yeah.
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 Damn it.
You know, what kept her alive was God. So God, once again, you fucked up, dude.
Come on.
First you fucked up with this, and then you cured Magic Johnson's AIDS. What's going on? And then
Yeah.
you killed 2 of the 3 members of LFO.
You took
Yeah.
Andrew away from the podcast? What
You
the
took
fuck?
Andrew
all
away.
these reasons are why you are number 2 on Michael Scott's picks. Or number
Yeah,
3.
no, he was further down than
And
that.
last, I'd have to
I'd
say
God.
God.
Yeah. He was like 5, I'm pretty
like
sure.
4 or 5, yeah.
And
God, you're slipping.
And one thing I didn't mention yet, because I wasn't really sure like where to say it or add it in, but John, he's a pretty fucking weird dude. Like, he would mow the yard in a full suit and tie. I don't know why.
Barney Stinson.
And he would never talk to his neighbors. Like, people said he was kind of a cold person just because he never would talk to anyone. Like we said, he's not a social guy at all. But everyone remembers him because how fucking weird he was. It'd be like middle of summer, just sweating asshole. And he would be out there in a full suit and tie mowing the yard.
He was suiting up, man. That's yeah. I have no issue with that.
And of course, the children, they weren't really starting to do that well either. Like, they were always moving around from state to state, house to house. And that's extremely hard on kids whenever you have to keep moving and starting over because you have to keep making friends again. And when you're younger, new kids, I don't know, it's difficult for them.
Yeah, bullies are douchebags for sure.
And they started doing poorly in school and they began acting up as well. And then by August 1966, the bank decided that enough was enough. And so they asked John to leave his job, which is just their way of being like, yeah, dude, you're fired, but we're going to let you keep a little bit of dignity by asking you to resign.
They at least give him a severance pay?
I don't know.
You would hope so.
I'm not quite sure, actually.
Hopefully.
But yeah, so he resigns and he decided, well, I don't want to tell my family about this. I don't want them to think I'm a failure. So every day he pretended that he still worked at the bank. So he would get up, he would get ready and, quote, go to work. But all he would do was go to like the park or the train station and just read newspapers all day trying to find another job.
There's a sitcom in there somewhere, honestly.
He's like, all right, family, I'm off to work. And he just fucking goes to the park and reads newspapers.
Wait, there's a sitcom. What's John Ritter doing?
Oh, dude. Rest in peace, John.
I didn't mean that. I love John Ritter.
And then in 1967, he finally begins another job, this time at the American Photographic Corporation. No clue what he did there, though. And because he wasn't making the same amount of money as he once was, the family was pretty broke. And the house was going to shit. Like, it was falling apart and in disrepair. Like, it was a big-ass mansion, but it was like the paint was falling off. It just looked like shit. And also, a big surprise right here. Helen, once again, falls down and gets hurt. This time, she breaks her collarbone. And that pretty much leads back to her not leaving the bed again. But now the bed is like extremely dirty and gross. And she's not doing well physically or mentally. She's always covered in bruises from falling and dirty because she rarely washes anymore. And she's in need of a full-time nurse, but the family obviously can't afford it. And then in June of 1967, the doctors diagnosed Helen with an organic brain disease known as cerebral atrophy. They didn't know why or what caused it, but they blamed it on her alcoholism. That is until 1968 when doctors finally learned and diagnosed her with syphilis. And guess what happens next to John?
What?
Well, his work decided to relocate, and unless he wanted to sell the house and move away, he would need to yet again find another job. So he decided to start working from home as an insurance salesman by phone, and you can probably guess just how absolute super shitty this is going to be for him because he has no communication or people skills, so he pretty much just sucks at this job. And by now, he's broke as shit. He has taken out 2 new mortgages on the house. He was only making like $1,000 a month, which, keep in mind, he has 3 kids, a wife, a mom, and a 19-room mansion that he's paying for. And then since he can't afford anything, the heat gets shut off. His kids are also wearing raggedy-ass scrub clothes, probably some oversized bum equipment or Bugle Boy, which I'm guessing is what poor people wear because that's what I wore growing up, was just oversized bum equipment shirts.
Which one was the gas station one?
I don't remember.
There was a gas station where it was like mechanic something, or it started with an M.
Actually, since I was really short, I didn't really gain any height until high school. I just got all my friends' hand-me-downs. That was like most of my clothes were like most of my friends' shirts.
I did too, honestly. I really did, yeah.
It was either that and Bugle Boy. Although one year, I don't know what happened because we didn't have money, but I got like 10 wrestling shirts for Christmas, all NWO Wolfpack and shit.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I was like, fuck yeah.
I think there's like mechanic something that was the gas station one, and I wore that a lot for sure.
Hell yeah.
I got a lot of hand-me-downs.
I meant dollar store, not gas station, dollar store.
The hand-me-downs are good, man. I love hand-me-downs.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because I had rich friends. That was the only time I had like super badass clothes, when my rich friends got too big. I remember one time at the IX Center, we went, and my family, they're like, all right, you guys can each get something as long as it's not like super expensive. I got a Ken Griffey Jr. card that was also on like a plaque and stuff. And this was back in like mid-90s. So it was awesome. It was badass. My sister got an NWO shirt.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which was a good choice also.
Yeah.
One day I wore the NWO shirt to school just once to wear. And I shit you not, like a week later, this one kid was messing with me. He's like, hey, man, I heard you like to wear your sister's clothes. I was like, dude, I didn't wear my sister's clothes. What are you talking about? He didn't know. He just came up to me to say it to be a dick. But I was like, oh, shit, how the fuck did he know?
No, fuck
how
you.
did he know?
Fuck you, man. It was an NWO shirt. Go fuck yourself.
But I was like, fuck, how did he know, dude? Who told him?
Fuck that kid.
So this is about when everything starts to hit John. He's like, well, fuck. My religious family is kind of moving in directions that I didn't really want them to. The kids are growing up in ways that, quote, would lead them to eternal damnation. What really bothered John was his daughter. She wanted to move away and become an actress, which horrified him. And then, worst of all, she became interested in witchcraft and was flirting with older boys.
Oh, fuck.
That was in the book, so I didn't see that. A lot of this stuff, we might have some conflicting information because not half this shit I don't see online. I saw in the books.
Oh, we'll find out about it.
And then his wife, Helen, she's demented and dying. The house is being foreclosed on. He was losing everything. Not to mention that he had been skimming money from his mother's bank account without her knowing as well. And he also now knows that Helen had syphilis and never told him about it, which started to make him think about something else that happened. Like when Helen originally was the one pressuring him into marriage by falsely claiming that she was pregnant, and then insisted, hey, when we get married, let's do it in Maryland, which he didn't really think too much about. But turns out that was a state where you could get married and it wouldn't require blood testing to obtain a marriage license.
Oh, fuck.
So that's pretty fucked up, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, Helen originally got syphilis from her ex-husband. When he was fucking like prostitutes and shit over in like Korea and stuff.
How would John not get it, though?
Maybe he got it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he got it, but it wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about syphilis.
Yeah, I don't really know too much about syphilis either.
But yeah, I know it's really fucking bad. Like a lot of people die from it.
Ben Franklin had it.
Yeah, it's something that I think takes a lot of time to actually do a lot of bad shit. Like I think it's real shitty, and then I think it calms down for a little bit, and then I think it hits you hard. Like, I think that's how her brain was getting all fucked up towards the end.
Yeah.
I have no idea if that's true. I'm speaking out of my ass. So John, he couldn't let his entire family continue down the path they were on because then they would all go to hell. And he couldn't allow his life to keep going like this because then people would find out that he was a failure. So October 14th, he went to get a gun permit, which he already owned 2 guns. Like, he didn't buy any new ones, just a permit, I saw, so I don't really know what the point of that was. And I don't know anything about guns, but I'm going to go ahead and read these off for all of our listeners that like guns or know shit about them. I'll probably mispronounce them, but here's what they are. He had a 9mm Steyr handgun. That's probably not how you pronounce it. Steyr. And then a Colt 22 caliber revolver. So I don't know what that gun is. It looks kind of cool, though. It's kind of like an old school looking thing. It's pretty badass. It was a 1912. I don't know what that means. And then time was ticking, and he knew he had to make an important choice very soon, so he narrowed it down to 3 options. I could either A, kill myself, B, put the family on welfare, or C, I could kill them all. So let's see which one of these 3 options he ends up going with. Well, he thought to himself, weighed his options. He's like, well, if I go with killing myself, then I would go to hell. I'm not about to do that. If I put the family on welfare, then that would be way too humiliating, and people would know that I was a failure, and plus I don't think my family could live like that. However, if I murdered the entire family right now, since they're not all corrupted yet, they would all go to heaven. So, November 9th, 1971, John set his plan into motion. And the very first thing he does is he leaves a note outside for the milkman telling him that they are canceling their orders.
Oh, that's the most important thing, really.
Yeah.
It kind of is, yeah.
Yeah. Operation Get to Heaven.
Operation Iraqi Freedom.
I mean,
This is the first step of Operation Iraqi Freedom, actually.
But we think of it, that was pretty smart. That was pretty smart to do that, though, honestly.
Yeah.
Lowe's knows you're the gardener who does it right to make your flower and vegetable plants thrive. We do it right, too, with deals like 5 bags of Miracle Grow all-purpose garden soil for just $10 during our Spring Black Friday sale. Grow delicious vegetables and herbs and save on Bonnie plants, now 4 for $10. Find Spring Black Friday savings like these throughout the store, but hurry because they won't last long. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 4/17, not valid in Alaska or Hawaii. Bonnie offer valid on 19-ounce pots. See store for details, U.S. only.
And then next, after his 3 kids had gone to school, he first goes up behind his wife. I believe she was sitting at the kitchen table drinking coffee, which if she could get out of bed and do that, hell yeah, that's kind of badass.
Well, get a job, bitch.
And then he puts the gun up behind her head and shoots her through the head.
Hashtag Wildman.
Oh, Tim. No, Tim.
Can we just say it for that one? Should have just ended with that.
And next, he goes up to the 3rd floor where his 84-year-old mother was living. And then when he comes in, I think she's actually she has like a little kitchen up there. And I think she's either making tea or making food or something. And I believe she said something like, oh, what was that noise? And that's when he lifts the gun up and shoots her right above her left eye. One source claimed that as she fell, her knees broke. So I don't know if that's true or not, or if that did happen. I don't know if she died right away or if, who knows, but that fucking sucks.
And she was 84, her knees might have just broken when she stood up. But also,
he opened the door too quick and they had a window open, so the breeze was pretty big and snapped her legs.
I'm about to say, he honestly could have just waited, like 11 minutes. She would have just died on her own.
The noise of like someone snapping a pretzel rod. But yeah, John, his weapons of choice, like we mentioned, those 2 guns. This motherfucker is like dual wielding those handguns. He's going through the house with both guns.
Yeah.
And so John, he just killed his wife, killed his mother. And the reason he killed his mother, because, there's no reason to do any of this.
No, life would have done it really soon.
In his head, he said, kind of like what Ed Kemper did after he killed his grandpa or grandma, I forget, but he's like, I just didn't want them to live knowing I did that.
Yeah. What Ed Kemper said, he didn't want her to live, or him to live without his wife. After he killed his grandpa.
He acted like he was doing him a favor pretty much. But that's what John thinks he's doing. He's thinking, like, if I kill them all now before they get corrupt, they'll all die and go to heaven.
Well, I feel like with his mom, she's 80-something years old. If she's going to get corrupt, it probably already happened.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So John, he was planning to wait for his kids to come home from school to murder them. He's like, yeah, fuck it. I'll just hang around here until I get home. But then he had received a call from school. It was his 16-year-old daughter, Patricia. And normally she works a job after school, but she was wanting to get picked up because she was sick. So John is like, all right, yeah, I'll come pick you up. He goes to school. He picks her up, brings her home. And then he goes inside the house, waits for her to come inside. And then when she isn't looking, he pulls the gun out and shoots her through the back of the head. And by now, John, he had put his wife's body in his sleeping bag and dragged her into the ballroom of the home. He also does the same with his daughter's body. His mother's body was all the way upstairs, though, so he just left her in the attic because we'll find out later in a letter that she was too heavy for him to bring downstairs. Yeah. Which, how the fuck can you not drag an 84-year-old lady downstairs? It can't be that hard.
I mean, at that point, he probably just didn't care.
Did she have, like, steel knee replacements?
I don't know.
Or a plate in her head that acts up when you turn the microwave on?
And now he has some time because his two sons, they weren't home from school yet, so he's just kind of hanging out around at home, and he decides he's going to make himself a sandwich. And then he goes to town. Literally, he goes to town, he does some banking, such as closing both his and his mother's bank accounts. And next, he picks up his 13-year-old son after school because he was supposed to be at an after-school job as well. But once again, whenever they get him, he brings him home, then he goes inside and hides and waits for him to turn around so that he can save him from going to hell by shooting him through the back of the head.
Right.
So for all of these, he doesn't want them to see him. Like, he has to do it from the back.
Yeah.
And now this next part, with this 15-year-old son, there are some conflicting stories. I've heard two different versions. Version 1, John Jr., he was at a soccer game after school, which John went to and cheered him on, and then brought him home and killed him. That's one version I saw.
That's one I've heard.
The second version is John Jr., he had soccer practice. Then he ends up coming home earlier than expected, and this caught John off guard. But regardless, he ends up killing him. So in one version, he goes to a soccer game, cheers him on. The other version, he just waits for him to come home after practice. I don't know what the real version is. But what we do know is once John Jr. gets home, he puts up a bit of a struggle. Before his father is able to shoot him from behind, he turns and sees him, and he's like, what the fuck? My father's fucking dual-wielding guns aimed at me. So he tries to run away and runs through the house. He takes off running to try and get away. And John, he couldn't take care of this quick and easy like the rest of the family. So he ran after him with both pistols firing, chasing him through the house. How fucking, that is such a terrifying image. Yeah. You're like, you come home and your dad is just holding two guns. You're running through the house while he's just fucking taking shots at you.
Yeah. Because it'd be so much, to be honest with you, it'd be easier to have somebody you didn't know.
Yeah, because you wouldn't you'd be like, Dad, what are you doing?
It's your fucking dad.
He ends up shooting him 10 times.
Yeah.
John then takes the rest of the bodies, lays them out in the ballroom, covers them with sleeping bags, and he drapes towels over their faces. He then kneels down and says some prayers for them. And then he went through the house, and he took all the pictures of them that he could find and cut out his own face. So that way, no one would be able to... He's like, well, no one's going to fucking know what I look like if I take all the pictures of me out of here.
Yeah.
So he cuts his face out of all the pictures. Which is another fucking crazy thing. Imagine being the detectives coming in, finding this scene, and then finding all the pictures with this dude's fucking face missing.
Because you know it had to have been the husband, but then you had no pictures to go off of.
Yeah. And this was fucking in 1970s.
Yeah. Because nowadays that wouldn't fucking matter.
And then John, he writes a bunch of letters. We're not going to go into too many details about it. We'll mention the one letter that he writes, but he writes a bunch of them to like members of the family and stuff. And this one letter he sends to his church's pastor. And now the actual full letter is huge. It's like 5 pages. So we're not going to read the whole thing, but we are going to pick out some pieces and quotes from it. And he begins his 5-page letter with saying, quote, I am very sorry to add this additional burden to your work. And he says, I know that what has been done is wrong from all that I have been taught, and that any reasons that I might give will not make it right. But you are the one person that I know that while not condoning this will at least possibly understand why I felt I had to do this. 1, I wasn't earning anywhere near enough to support us. So that's the first reason. Why did you murder your entire family? I couldn't make enough money. 2, but that brings me to my next point, knowing the type of location that one would have to live in, plus environment for the children, plus the effect on them knowing that they were on welfare was just more than I thought that they could and should endure. So he's like, I couldn't put them on welfare. That would have just fucking been awful.
That would have ruined them.
He gives some other reasons. He also says Helen not going to church. I knew that this would harm the children eventually in their attendance, and I continued to hope that she would begin to come to church soon. But when I mentioned to her that Mr. So-and-so wanted to pay her an elder's call, she just blew up and said she wanted her name taken off the church rolls. And then he says, so that is the sum of it. If any one of these had been the condition, we might have pulled through, but this was just too much. At least I'm certain that they have all gone to heaven now. If things had gone on, who knows if this would be the case. Of course, Mother got involved because doing what I did to my family would have been a tremendous shock to her at this age. Therefore, knowing that she is also a Christian, I felt it best that she be relieved of the troubles of this world that would have hit her. So those are his reasons for giving all this. Now, he says later on the reason that he doesn't kill himself was because if he killed himself, then he would go to hell, and then he wouldn't be able to spend time with his family in the afterlife.
So murder doesn't make you go to hell?
Yeah, what an asshole. What a fuck.
I mean, basically, murder is, one of the tops that makes you go to hell. Huge douchebag. I agree.
Yeah.
I kind of do think it's part of, the shit, the abuse that he went through. So I'm not going to blame his wife at all, but the abuse he went through, I kind of do think it has a part of it.
I mean, you shouldn't kill anyone for these
Yeah.
stupid reasons. I could
At all.
see him snapping
Yeah.
eventually, and I mean, you don't know, no one deserves to die, but
At
I
all.
could at least understand him just fucking losing it one day
Yeah.
and maybe accidentally acting with passion and killing
Absolutely.
his wife.
Basically, he went through abuse too, but he should have never done any of the things that he did.
Yeah.
But I think part of it does have to do with the abuse he went through.
Oh yeah, and every all the sources say up until the point of him murdering the entire family, everything says he was a good father and a good husband up until that point. I mean, of course. I mean, we don't need any angry emails. Of course, murdering his family and all
Well, it's
that
horrible.
was
Yeah,
bullshit.
absolutely. No, I agree.
But yeah, so those are his reasons on why he did what he did. The next day, he calls the school saying, hey, we're going to be gone for a while on a family trip. We're going to North Carolina because I think he said his wife's sister was sick or mother was sick or something. And then before leaving the house, he turns on all the lights, and then he just blasts music throughout the house intercom, at as high as he can, and leaves. So if anyone comes by the house, they see all the lights are on, and fucking music is just blasted.
The house has an intercom.
Yeah, it's fucking mansion. It's got everything.
It's 9-room mansion
So people
or 19-room.
So people are like, man, I haven't seen that family in a while. Where are they at? Let's go by their house. And fucking Renegade by Styx is blasting.
hell yeah.
These motherfuckers know how to party. No wonder they're not in school. They're fucking partying. Renegade's awesome. It's just that song on fucking repeat.
Dude, that maybe is that Billy Madison, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I think of with Renegade.
That song's awesome.
Or it's Hey Joel on repeat.
Hey, Joe. One more sad note, though. Just before the family was murdered, Patricia, she told her drama teacher that if anything were to happen to her or her family, it was probably because of her father. And she told the drama teacher that she was actually really worried about him. She told the coach that if he heard anything about the family going on vacation, it would mean that her father had killed her and the rest of the family.
What
the fuck?
Because the reason for this is one night after dinner, John, they're just sitting there fucking enjoying a meal. He asked the family, hey, what should be done with your bodies after you all die?
Wow.
And here's a quote from John later on about this, because John would write an autobiography while in prison. He said, I remember talking about funerals and cremations and burials. I thought I was being real clever.
Well, you clearly weren't, buddy.
So the next day, John, he's gone. He's nowhere to be found. And the family and their bodies, they wouldn't even be found for another month. So, no one comes to the house until 1 month later, and John is already just fucking completely gone. But he actually, as big as a fucking turd this guy is, he set this up pretty well, this plan. He contacted, everyone pretty much he could think of. He sent notes to the teachers, to the church. Whenever neighbors, they would, look at the house or something, they'd see all the lights were on, and they'd hear music and stuff. But what caused the neighbors to finally call the law, or to call the police, was they started to notice that the lights in the mansion, one by one, were burning out.
Yeah.
So that's a fucking creepy thing too.
It really
you haven't
is,
seen this.
yeah.
You haven't seen this family
Yeah.
in about a month, and every time you look at the house, there's one less light on.
Yeah.
That's fucking creepy as fuck.
It would be a great movie, honestly, if somebody did it right.
Yeah, there's actually been a lot of TV episodes and people based on him. We'll talk about it a little bit later.
Yeah.
So John, he's gone now, and he would remain gone for 18 years.
Yeah.
18 years it fucking took to find this guy because they had no pictures of him. He cut them all out. He took a train from New Jersey to Michigan, then to Colorado, where he lived for a while. But to throw the police off, he took his car and left it at the airport. Like, he didn't get on a plane or anything. He just drove his car there, left it there, and then he would take, like, trains and buses and eventually ended up in Denver.
Dude, that was honestly pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really was.
18 years. Just long enough to make some more kids to shoot in the back of the head.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a fucking...
I thought it was going to be 18 years?
Yeah.
That fucking Kanye song?
No.
I was thinking it was going to be like a fucking Azkaban joke.
I did my waiting.
18 years.
18 years of it. And while in Denver, he kept a low profile, first by working as a cook at a hotel. And he also changed his name to Bob Clark, which is, he would later admit that was the name of a classmate that he used to have.
Oh.
And later on, they would ask the actual Bob Clark that he was classmates with, like, yeah, so what do you think of, like, John List, a family killer, like, using your name? He didn't even know who he was. He's like, who the fuck is John List?
Yeah, I'd imagine.
And then after this, I think I heard that he was a cook at this hotel, and then later on he was actually like a cook like higher up somewhere to where he's actually making an all right living.
Yeah.
But eventually he started working at another fucking paper place. This time it was a paper box manufacturing plant where he was an accountant. And he started going to a Lutheran church again, and he would even drive around like a fucking minivan picking up some of the church members to bring them there. So he's running like a fucking little shuttle service, bringing people to the
that
church.
was nice. You fucking murderer.
You piece of shit. And then he even met an Army exchange clerk by the name of Dolores Miller, and he would end up marrying her in 1985. And I believe she was also a widow.
How old is this motherfucker at this point?
He's pretty
in his
fucking
60s,
old.
Right? He has to be in his 60s.
Yeah, he's pretty old. I always picture him being old as fuck because I see what he looks like when he gets captured,
I've seen
and
it.
he's older than fucking hell.
Yeah.
So.
Didn't you say it was more in like 20s? I thought.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it has to be in 60s at this point.
And then 3 years after meeting Dolores, or after they got married, they would move to Virginia, where Joe would take another new job as an accountant, which I'm betting the same thing happened. He keeps getting let go or fired. I mean, he keeps moving with her.
Well, at this point, it's just because he's old as fuck.
And now we're going to skip to 1989. So he has been disappeared for 18 years now. 1989, John Walsh and the team at America's Most Wanted, they would nationally air a story about the murders of the List family. And this next part is pretty fucking badass. The forensic sculptor guy was like, okay, we don't know what this dude looked like for sure. I believe they had a few really old pictures, but he's like 20 years ago almost. He's like, well, we're going to take this picture. We're going to make a clay sculpture of him. We're going to age it 20 years. And I'm betting that since he is living in disguise pretty much, he's probably going to wear glasses. And let's just say he wears these wire rim type glasses. So he puts those on him.
Yeah.
And no joke, this picture
It's him.
of the sculpture he made is like 98% him.
Yeah.
It's almost 100% him.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty much like Lionel Richie when that blind bitch makes that sculpture of his clay head and turns around and you're like, holy shit, that's 100% Lionel Richie.
Yeah.
It's pretty much that. It's super impressive. And then here's a quote from the lineup.com. In order to create a bust of the aging List, Bender, yeah, that was the dude's name. His last name was Bender.
Fuck yeah.
He consulted a forensic psychologist in order to make a profile of the man. Bender also used a family photograph to predict how he would age. The bust depicted List with a receding hairline, sagging jaws, and a pair of glasses. Bender's theory was that List would use glasses to disguise himself as someone more important than he was. That would be proven accurate. When List was arrested, he was wearing the exact style of glasses Bender had envisioned.
It's so fucking amazing.
So he fucking guessed that shit right on the money.
Hashtag fucking Wildman for that guy, dude.
Yeah.
Because that really is awesome.
So List, he's been hiding and living a new life for 18 years. 11 days after this America's Most Wanted episode, and on June 1st, 1989, this motherfucker is captured. Neighbors, they watched the show and were like, holy shit, that looks a lot like Bob Clark. And then they would even bring it up to his wife, Dolores. But of course, she's like, that's fucking impossible. That's not him. And then after being arrested, he denied it. He's like, look, I'm Bob Clark. I don't know who this John List is. Until the police were like, oh, okay, that's fine, Bob. But you want to explain why your fingerprints match those of John List's? And that's when he said, hey, you got me. Although he probably didn't say it like that. And then the police went, got him. Got him. And he eventually confessed. But he really refused to admit that he was John List until February 16th. So he got arrested June 1st. And he's like, I am fucking Bob Clark. I'm not John List until February. This old fucking piece of shit.
Man, fine. You guys got me.
And then John explaining why he did it after he confessed. He said that the reasons being, of course, that his family had no money. He didn't want them all to go to hell, so he had to save them by killing them. And, of course, he couldn't kill himself because then he would be in hell, and that would just defeat the whole purpose.
Right.
It also turns out he has pretty bad OCD. I just kind of threw that in there because I didn't mention it earlier. So, And then April 12th, 1990, he gets convicted on 5 counts of first-degree murder. And they said, like, you know, he doesn't show any remorse. He denies direct responsibilities. And he said, quote, I feel that because of my mental state at the time, I was unaccountable for what happened. I ask all affected by this for their forgiveness, understanding, and prayer. And the judge is like, no, you're without any remorse, and you're kind of a piece of shit. So after 18 years, 5 months, and 22 days, this is what the judge says, pretty badass. It is now time for the voices of Helen, Alma, Patricia, Frederick, and John List to rise from the grave. And he imposed a sentence of 5 life imprisonment sentences to be served consecutively. So it's like you're just in jail for the rest of your old piece of shit life, and you have no chance of ever getting out.
Yeah.
Hashtag Wildman.
So hell yeah. This next part is kind of funny, but it's only funny in like a not funny at all way. It's actually pretty sad and super fucked up. But all I could say is like if John, whenever he found this out, he probably threw his hands up like a like the W shape. Because what was the number one reason for him doing this? Do you guys remember?
He said so they wouldn't go to hell.
Or to avoid humiliation.
Yeah, so like money, pretty much. The very main motivator was because they didn't have any fucking money at all.
Yeah.
So the house that they owned, that 19-room mansion, like we said, the family, they have no money. One of the main leading factors was because he's like, you know, the family has no money and we're too proud to go on welfare, so I have to kill them to save them and all that shit.
Never thought they could have just sold the house.
Well, in the home, unbeknownst to him, they had a ballroom-stained glass skylight. I mean, obviously they knew that skylight was there, but what they didn't know is that it was a signed Tiffany original, meaning that at the time, what was it, like 1971?
Yeah.
It would have been worth $100,000.
Holy shit.
Which today would be like over $500,000.
So he might have shot his own kid underneath the window that could have defeated the whole reason.
They
Probably,
They would have been fucking set.
Yeah.
He's a fucking goddamn moron.
Jesus.
The answer to his problem was there the whole time. But 10 months after that murder in August of 1972, somebody burned down that Breese Knoll mansion and destroyed that skylight. And they never caught who burned this place down. And lastly, we go to March 21st when John List dies of complications from pneumonia at the age of 82. So yeah, this fucker died in 2008.
Hashtag Wildman to pneumonia.
Yeah, and I think pneumonia is the real winner in this story.
Yeah, I think so.
And strangely enough, coming in second, syphilis. I don't know how. A surprising turn. It must have got the blue shell and the lightning at the very end to catch up. But yeah, so anything you want to mention about this old piece of shit?
I was on his team for a while, honestly. I do not understand. I wouldn't kill your wife. I wouldn't do it. He could have just let it happen anyway. But she was kind of a cunt, and I do think that you can't only blame him. You have to kind of blame her. Like, yeah. she's like her.
She pushed his buttons.
Yeah, her abuse to him, you kind of have to add in, as long as that stuff's all true. So, yeah, I didn't know about that before, when I researched. I apparently didn't read enough. I think you kind of have to add that part in, too.
So I guess our hype man, John, the wild man from Queens, he was actually like he's like on the jury. He's like one of the people on the jury, and they were like John List looked over. He's like, so I was a veteran also. He's like, and I'm sorry about what I did, but do you think there's any chance that you guys could like forgive me and let me go? And that's when Wildman from Queens stood up and said this.
I was a fucking United States Army paratrooper. I don't fucking negotiate with terrorists. Go fuck yourself.
And then that whole courtroom, all the women's panties got wetter than Dirk Nowitzki's jersey during his fucking last game on the court, baby.
Dude, that was sad.
It was sad as fuck,
That was really
dude.
sad.
I teared up looking at him, dude.
I did too.
Fuck, dude.
Fucking Dirk, man.
I know. That was sadder than this case. I'm joking. Obviously, that's a fucking joke.
It was still sad, though.
So speaking of, well, that's not even a way. You guys want some fun facts?
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, are we gonna go to theories?
Oh shit! What kind of theory you got, Spence? Let's hear it.
Aliens.
All right, shut her down.
They always got to shut down the alien theory. The Men in Black show up as soon as you start talking about it.
That is true. They're outside the windows right now. What was your story about outside the window watching? Something about me and a little Asian boy. Yeah, we made a joke about.
It was an Asian boy when it happened to me, though.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we are with some fun facts. So, there are a lot of movies and characters that were said to have been based on this guy. I don't fully understand how, but they said that Kaiser Soze in The Usual Suspects was some of his basis was from John List. Yeah, I don't really know. Maybe just because, I don't know.
Doesn't make too much sense. All right.
In 1972, there was a while where people believed that List may have actually been D.B. Cooper. John disappeared just 2 weeks prior to the hijacking, and he does share a resemblance to the Cooper sketch. However, John, he would deny this later, and he would be scratched off the suspect list. Also, John is a fucking complete square, and D.B. Cooper was actually cool and a badass.
Yeah, I'll say there's no way.
John List, in your fucking dreams, you fucking old square.
Yeah, D.B. Cooper also would never have married that chick either. D.B. Cooper would marry a fucking supermodel.
Yeah. They would be like, yeah, John List, you couldn't fucking do this because you are just a dumb idiot. Like, he couldn't even probably hold a glass of water without fucking spilling that shit everywhere. He's a fucking square, dude. But yeah, that's everything we have on this case. Was there anything you guys wanted to mention?
Fucking sad.
Yeah, it's a sad one. It's pretty fucked up. I mean, that sucks for the families, especially the kids who didn't do anything to deserve that.
See, that's where it gets fucked up. Because honestly, it wouldn't be that bad had it not been with the mother and the kids. Like, that's where it gets fucked up.
And it's such a shitty cop out there. He's like, well, I couldn't kill myself because, I did this so they would get to heaven. And I don't want to go to hell.
Honestly, fucker, just kill yourself. It would have been much better. Or had the wife died earlier. And that's really mean to say, but like had she died earlier, maybe the rest of it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. It was also shitty to hide syphilis from him.
Yeah.
That was pretty shitty. Especially because that was the whole reason. She lied about being pregnant to get him to marry her too. So that's fucked up.
Both the wife and then the husband made dick moves that the kids ended up paying.
They're both assholes.
Yeah, they ended up paying like a really, really bad price for.
Like, if they were on a team, the Little Giants, they would be on the Cowboys.
Yeah, and you would think that maybe like a meteor could just have hit them, and then the kids would have just lived. That would have been
nice while they were at school.
Yeah, great way to go.
Yeah. So, alrighty, we do have some Patreon shout-outs.
Ooh.
First one, we got to mention Canadian Chloe.
Chloe.
Our one-woman street team.
Oh.
She's always fucking helping us out. She's getting her classmates and friends to leave us reviews and shit. But, she's upped her Patreon pay, even though she was giving us $5, and then she upped that, and then upped it again. So she's super cool to us. She didn't have to do that.
Hell yeah, Chloe.
We super appreciate it.
Come on, Chloe, stop being so badass and send me a phone number. Jeez.
Oh, she's got a boyfriend, Timmy.
Well, I mean,
but not in the U.S.
She's having friends in there and stuff.
Yeah.
She should send us some donuts.
At least donuts, Chloe. Come on.
Next up, we have Joshua Mendoza. Just signed up, so thank you.
Sounds like he's probably a police chief.
Actually, dude, I'm not even joking. He's either a police officer or in the army. I forget.
I'll say that Mendoza sounds like he's some sort of authority, and I'd be afraid of him.
Or he's on the Mighty Ducks fucking Team USA team.
Either way, that'd be awesome.
Because I know there's a dude, and let me look that up. I know there's a guy with the last name Mendoza. But yeah, it's I'm sorry I'm fucking that up. I know he's either in the military or like with the police or something. Because we have a lot of listeners that are either military or police, because a lot of them, to do what they do, you got to have a fucked up sense of humor.
Yeah, you gotta have
like
to.
us. So I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of that's.
I like
cool.
how ours is just fucked up for no reason. We're just idiots.
So we're at the end of the episode. Tooth just texted me, "I'm coming." He's either on his way, or he's lying, or he's whacking off. So
Holy shit! Hopefully we get a video.
I do want to mention today we are recording on a Thursday because Tooth asked us to switch from Friday to Thursday so he could be here, and then he never showed up.
We're at the end of the
So hashtag never trusted Tooth, but hashtag I love you, buddy. There we go. It's fucking Luis Mendoza, who is also the guy that played the dude in The Sandlot that pickles the beast. I can't think of his name right now.
Dude, the beast's balls.
Oh, I love that part, dude, where he jumps over and you just see his big hairy sack flopping around.
Fuck, man.
What is this fucking actor's name? Benny the Jet Rodriguez is his name in Sandlot, right? I know it's Benny the Jet. So, alrighty, no Tooth, no Andrew tonight. So a little bit of a shock with the no Andrew here, which means no words of wisdom. So I guess we'll just end it right here. You guys got anything you want to mention before we end it?
I don't think so.
We started up our YouTube channel again because, as I said, if anybody requested it, I would do it. And I wrote a little program to automatically make all the episodes into YouTube videos. And we've got almost all of them up. Well, they'll all be up by the time you hear this.
And what's funny is the next day it was actually Canadian Chloe that sent us a Snapchat saying that you should do that program to make it.
Hell yeah, Chloe.
So thank you again, Chloe,
I did
for
it.
that.
Chloe, you badass.
So the
You
Brothers
fucking
Commonplace will now
badass.
be on YouTube basically always and should be about the same day that the podcast comes out.
As of right now, though, it does pull it straight from our Spreaker, which will have the ads in it. So I might start sending the raw files to Spence so we don't have to worry about that. But if not, you might have to skip through like some ads. We don't put many. We put one at the beginning,
there's
one
only
at the
a couple.
end, and then one in the very middle. So it's like...
it's not a huge deal.
Yeah. But alrighty, I think that's everything from us. So we're going to record a little bonus episode, a quick one, since Tooth's not here, and it was supposed to be Tooth stories.
Tooth, you dick.
So, but anyways, thank you all for listening. Be good.
Stay safe.
And laugh at the dark stuff.
Hashtag Wildman.
Hashtag Taco Bell sounds amazing.
Hashtag this is one list you don't want to end up on. Hashtag break the gate. Who do you hate? Huh. Now you got a date with that person.
Hashtag I wouldn't have to shoot you if it weren't for my lisp.
Yeah, that's it.
I like it.
You don't want to do the traditional like closing? Like well, thank you, the thing I usually did.
Holy shit, I really forgot about it.
It's okay.
Yeah, holy shit.
You
How
wanna
do
do
we
all that?
skip all that? Yeah, let's do that.
Well, I was thinking this could be
Holy
more like
shit.
minimalistic.
I honestly forgot.
No, we need that shit. I completely forgot.
shit?
Damn.
Okay. To all our fans, we love you so much. Thank you for listening. You are why this podcast exists. And if you'd like to help support the podcast, you can check us out on social media. We've got a Facebook, we've got a Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Some of those are just Kevin's personal accounts, I think, that he just changed to like Brothers Commonplace brand.
Yes.
Nice.
Do a lot of butthole shots and butthole talk in those. So if you're into
Especially in
that-
the earlier months of their existence. So check that out. Send us messages on there anytime you want to. You can email us at brotherscommon.place@gmail.com. Brotherscommon.place might be down at the moment, but we have our Spreaker page, which is kind of our home on the internet right now. And we're going to be at a conference in Chicago in July. July what? 13th?
July 13th, we will be there.
At the True Crime Conference in, I don't know, type in True Crime Conference Chicago, July 2019. You'll find
Yeah, I
it.
forget what it's called. True Crime Podcast Festival or
There's
pod
going to be like
convention.
dozens of other podcasts there. If you want to take this to, I don't know, third, fourth base, I don't know what it counts as, you can support us on Patreon, which is where for just $1 a month, you can get all of our bonus content that we produce just about every week, where we do a little 15-minute silly fun episode or whatever we want to talk about. Just a little more if you're craving a little more. And Kevin, I think we'll give you stickers if you do that,
Yes,
which
sir.
is reason enough to do it. I don't know. I think that's about it, man.
And special thank you to everyone that has left us a review on iTunes. That really helps us out. It really means a lot to us. And if you do enjoy the show, if you haven't left us one yet, you should think about it. It's actually a lot of fun. I do it all the time, and that's where we get all of our reviews, is because I have about 90 email addresses now. Damn. But no, it really does mean a lot to us, and everyone that's been sharing the show with their friends, that is super awesome as well. And we have a goal to try and crack the top 200 in the comedy charts this year. We don't know if it'll happen, but we do know that it can't happen without you guys. I don't really know how it works. We put our show up on Sunday, and we've gotten way more downloads and listens this week than we've ever gotten. But we didn't appear on any charts. I know on today it said we were like right around 1,000. I don't know how reliable that is either, but because I use just this one site. But anyways, even that's cool. So hell yeah, I'll let you know every time if we get any higher. So we were at 1,000 this time. So I'll let you know if we jump. Also, we hit a big milestone. We have 40 supporters on Patreon now. That's fucking insane. That's super cool. So whenever you sign up, whether you do the $1 or $5, I'll mail you stickers. And I only send one of each. But if you want more, just send me a message or email me. I'll mail you however many you want. And also, we try to do 2 to 4 bonus episodes a month. We try to do one every week, but sometimes something comes up, we can't do it. And those are either like comedy episodes or like smaller crime ones. Like we covered the case about my uncle that murdered a girl and then committed suicide. We covered Ian Watkins last week. That's the Lost Prophets singer who is into some really sick shit. And then we've covered a lot of Tooth stories, which are always hilarious and fun. So yeah, if you want to support the show, you can sign up for Patreon. That's pretty cool. And besides that, yeah, just thank you for listening and supporting us any way you can. We love it when you send us messages and email us and talk to us on Twitter and all that stuff. So yeah, keep that up, guys. Timmy, Primo, anything you want to say, brother? All right, he's the silent assassin tonight. He's killing all the haters right now. That's why Toof and Andrew's not here. They were fucking hating, and then Tim was fucking just killing those idiots. Alrighty.
Now it's time for the real podcast.
Lowe's knows you're the gardener who does it right to make your flower and vegetable plants thrive. We do it right too, with deals like 5 bags of Miracle Grow all-purpose garden soil for just $10 during our Spring Black Friday sale. Grow delicious vegetables and herbs and save on Bonnie plants, now 4 for $10. Find Spring Black Friday savings like these throughout the store, but hurry because they won't last long. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 4/17, not valid in Alaska or Hawaii. Bonnie offer valid on 19-ounce pots. See store for details. U.S. only. Lowe's knows you're the gardener who does it right to make your flower and vegetable plants thrive. We do it right too, with deals like 5 bags of Miracle Grow all-purpose garden soil for just $10 during our Spring Black Friday sale. Grow delicious vegetables and herbs and save on Bonnie plants, now 4 for $10. Find Spring Black Friday savings like these throughout the store, but hurry because they won't last long. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 4/17, not valid in Alaska or Hawaii. Bonnie offer valid on 19-ounce pots. See store for details. U.S. only.